So for the BDS antenna seems like a mystery, and now we have Dr. Jing from Wuhan University. He's an associate professor. He works on multi-genus and precise orbit determination, and is also responsible for the routine data processing of IGS MGAX and IGMAS at Wuhan University. So his talk will be on the BDS satellite antennas. Guojing, could you share your screen?
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thanks IGS for providing such a chance to share what we have done. On behalf of our group, I will present some preliminary results on the phase central corrections of the Beidou satellites. And we also explore its potential contribution to the scale of the terrestrial reference frame. I think this work has already been done in some previous literatures. Okay, thanks to the effort of the IGS Antenna Working Group as well as the Jing the phase central collaboration result for the Beidou frequency for sight of the receiver antennas has already been provided. So it laid the foundation for the precise in-orbit calibration of the Beidou's phase central offsite and the phase central variations on the satellite part to meet the high accuracy data analysis. China Satellite Navigation Office has officially disclosed the satellite and the frequency species phase central offsite from the ground calibrations for Beidou 2 and also the Beidou 3 at December, I think, 2019. However, there is also no PCV information available. Besides the ground calibration, there are plenty of the research on the in-orbit estimation of the phase central for the Beidou in a different frame and also with the phase central offsite or the phase central variation or not. The latest has been done by Zadio, and this work will be used as the reference for comparisons in this talk. Sorry. Currently in the IGS official antenna fields, different values are adopted in the different fields. For the latest field, IGS 20s, the block means of the in-orbit PCO calibrations for above the research has been used for the Beidou 2, IGSO, and the MEU satellites. Will the CSNO disclose the PCO is adopted for the Beidou 3 satellite? And still there is no PCO information as mentioned by Tom earlier. So the previous research has already calibrated the Beidou's PCO, but which is limited to the median angle to the 9 and the 13 for the IGSO and the MEU. The calibrations are mainly based on B1 and the B3 and the 3 combinations, and there is no, it's hard to meet the increasing demand of the multi-frequency data precisions. For the PCU, I think Zadio has already identified the suspicious quality of the ground calibrations of the C14.1 and the C14.2, as well as those from the for the SECM satellites. And there is also the partition scale inconsistent between the Beidou disclosed PCO and also the IGS 20 reference frame. So the scale difference can be the scale discrepancy can be also be observed for the for that derived by the different combinations B1 or B3 and the B1 or B2, and also the mean scale bells can up to 0.0 part per billions, which is close to the difference between IDF 20 and IDF 14. So my work is just to show some result for the PCV estimation based on the IGS ground and also a LEO on orbit tracking data for not only for ionosphere combination, but also for the raw frequency. And also, I will show some PCO estimations for the IGS based on the ground and also the intersatellite link, the data based on 1 years and also the in 2021 and also about the 28 days in 2020. Finally, I will explore the contribution of the Beidou on the terrestrial reference frame scale by selecting of the sub-satellite groups. So in general, the data from the 105 and the 77 ground station are used for PCO estimation of the B1, B3, and also B1 and the B2. However, the possibility limited by the tracking channels or firmware, the count of the station tracking Beidou satellites with PRM beyond 13.7 are relatively low in 2020, but it has been improved in 2021. This will be impact on the PCO and the orbit estimations. So this result show the block-specific and media-dependent PCVs for the B1 and the B3, which we have been obtained based on the ground stations. This work has been published by Chu in 2021, and so we generally the difference between the satellite block spaces mean and the individual PCV curves are below 1 millimeter using a satellite block specific pattern for these antennas instead of the satellite specific ones, since it is possible without the loss of the accuracy. Furthermore, the data during we also use the used onboard data to extend the PCO for Beidou too. But however, but unfortunately, only B1 and the B2 can be checked. So the PCV can be is extended only for these two frequencies. It's quite to show the quite consistent between the ground based estimation and also the LEO onboard estimations. So furthermore, to meet the amount of the raw data processing, the dual frequency raw data are processed directly with constrained PCVs to estimate of the IF combinations. So in this case, we can obtain the raw PCVs for in each frequency. This is the result for B1, and the B3s. It's we can observe the variation of the PCV is within 1 millimeter, but the opposite variations of B1, B3 can be seen. Furthermore, we derived that for the B1 and the B2. So it's also to see the quite good consistency with consistent about the 1.2 millimeters for IGSO and MUs. So with the raw combinations, with the raw frequency, we can derive the ionosphere combinations to make the comparison with that estimated directly with the AF combination. So the difference is also below 1 millimeter, show the good consistency. For the PCO's estimations, the proper modeling of the solar pressure radar is a prerequisite. So we have done that so we developed a box wing model based on the adjustable optical property for the Beidou 3 satellite groups, which has been divided listed in the tables. And also in the data processing, the antenna truss and also the abuda has been considered. So this is the orbit validation by the SLR. It can be seen generally the accuracy can be reached to 3 to 4 centimeters, and by using the internal satellite laser measurement, the orbit can be improved further. So finally, this slide just to show the time series of the estimated PCO corrections to the disclosed values. The satellites are selected as seen as that in values. So we can see only the period corresponding to the low beta. So provided the stable horizontal PCO estimations for the high beta period, the variation of the horizontal PCO can be up to also 20 centimeters or even larger for some satellites. Different with the other satellites, the estimated PCO component of the 14.5 show the clear variation on the beta angles. And with the Beidou's only data used for estimation, the PCO estimation are more scattered, particularly in the Z components. However, by comparison of the corrections with respect to the CSNO disclosed data, the inconsistent ground calibrations value for the SECM satellites, for example, the C44 can be observed. This figure presents the PCO estimation result in the box whisker plots for all the satellites, including the IGS. For the X PCO of the MU, the estimated value agree very well with ground calibrations with Y and 2 centimeters, except for the 45 and 46 in the horizontal directions, where the distribution can be reached to 8 to 9 centimeters for the Z component. However, the D component still have the last scattered in the horizontal one, as the strong correlations between the head of the station head as well as other parameters. So the agreement between the estimate as well as the CSNO released value are within about 10 centimeters for cast MU satellites, except for the 41 and 42. So it has been identified by previous research, and the disclosed values for the PCO is questionable for these two satellites. For IGSO, there is noticeable discrepancy in X and Z can be observed for all satellites due to the pole tracking stations. And the C39 show even larger discrepancy than that of the 38 and the 40s. We think that is due to relative large beta angle for the 39 of. In this slide, we just list the estimated for the B1, B3, and the B1 and the B2 for all those three satellites based on the whole year's 2021 ground data. In January, the difference of the estimate with respect to the CSNO release, the data are about the 32 millimeters for the cast and about 125 for the SCAM MU satellites. Taking only these 8 satellites, this labeled in right in consideration, the description is about the minus 28 millimeter. This demonstrates the good consistency of the released PCO of Beidou's cast satellite with the scale of the ITF 2014. So similar, this discrepancy can be reached to about the 44 and about -10 and about -8 for the in the B1C and the B2. This indicated so the up to the 100 millimeter spells between the estimated the PCO values in this B1, B3, and the B1, B2 for the SECM satellite indicated the questionable quality of the released PCO for this SECM satellites. So furthermore, we use the inter-satellite link for the PCO estimation with the combination of the L-band data. So in the data analysis, the PCO of the key, the K-band antenna are also estimated with the L-band the PCO at the same time. So this figure shows the time series of the corrections to the disclosed value. It can be observed that the estimate of the horizontal PCO become much more stable, particularly in the high beta region. Slight improvement can also be observed for the Z-PCO estimation that's in our expected. So we further investigate the case contributions to the satellite-specific informations. These figures present the PCO estimation with L-band and the ISL data. So as ground data during the 2020s are used for estimation, so there are lake tracking data available for those satellites beyond the 13.7. The quality of their estimation is quite low. By using the L-band data, it has been improved in the horizontal and also the vertical directions significantly. For the short part time, the bells up to about 29 millimeters is obtained in the Z components once the ISL data has been considered. Furthermore, we investigated the realization of the terrestrial reference frame scale based on the CSNO, the BDS PCO models, but we only fixed the PCO for the 8 selected satellites. The figure shows the time series scale derived from the Helmholtz transformation between the Beidou-only solution and the IGS daily Synix solutions in IGS 14 frames. So I would like to see the noise, the scatter of the scale is a bit large, but the derived the scale are consistent from the B1, B3, and all the B1 and the B2. The bells of the scale can about the 1.2 part per billions. So this confirm these bells deliver a decent agreement with the ITR 2014, and this demonstrated the benefit of selections of the stable satellite groups with stable PCO estimations. Finally, let's conclude the work and list the remaining issues to be solved in the near future. We have used the ground and the LEO onboard data to deliver the PCO for the single frequency and the extension, the ionosphere combinations. We also use the ground as well as ionosphere data to deliver the satellite-specific PCO for the Beidou, IGSO, and MU satellites. We confirm the inconsistency of the group ground calibrations value of V1, B2 and the B3 for the SECM satellite, and also the question values of the 14.1 and the 42. So the estimated the PCO for the IGS satellite achieved the meter level the discrepancy. It should be it needs further investigations, and we also investigation on the realization of the terrestrial reference frame scale based on the CSNO disclosed values by selection of the only 8 cast MU satellite with reliable PCO estimation. The derived scale factor from the B1, B3 and the B1, B2 is almost identical. Furthermore, it's also close to the ITF 2014, but there is a larger description with the scale of the Galileo and the GPS block 3, which has been sync consistent. So we need some more pay attention to investigate the consistency of the scale from the different disclosed PCO data. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Jing. This is very timely research. I think you have a very short question in the chat box. Could you see it? The NNR is known as rotation, is it?
Yes, NR is no 90 rotations.
So, and you have a question that why didn't apply minimum constraint? I think you can answer it in a brief way.
Yes. For my understanding, I think user NARs2 has been constrained the rotations, so it's fine for the PCO's estimations.
Okay. Guojing, I have one more question for you. And as you know, in the ITR of 2020 establishment, we have the Galileo set antennas to be modified to agree with the IGS 20 scale. Do you think there are any similarities between the BDS official antenna problem and the modification of the Galileo antennas?
Sorry if I understand it is correct. I think from our funding, I think it seems that the Beidou's CPCO is quite close to the scale of the 2014, but for the Galileo's and the GPS block 2, the scale can up to 1.42 with respect to ITF 2014. So there is about the more than 1 part per billion difference. It can be up to 10 centimeters. So it's hard to, it's hard to relate, to trust which one is right and which one is not. So in the IGS 2020s, the Galileo has been aligned to the scale of the ITF 2020. So so maybe the Beidou will do that to in order to overcome the discrepancies between the Beidou PCO and also the scale of the 2020s.
Okay, thank you. I think we can have the questions to have more discussion on this problem later on after all speakers finished.